Hello traders and welcome to this week's Market Outlook from Exness. I'm Michael Stark, Financial Content Leader, and here I'm going to be giving an idea for a trade over the next few days, the narratives that might drive movement in markets, what traders who were to take the position would need to be aware of in terms of news and data. But before that, let's look back at the performance of last week's idea and see how that did. Last week, the idea was a potential buy for Bitcoin from the area of around 106,500, with a possible target around 110,000. That idea was fully accurate, with the price having moved up to the target within a couple of days of publication of the video. This week, the possible idea is a buy for the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. We can see that the price recently has tested the area around 135.5 twice, without success, and it's possible that the current incipient bounce might continue. The initial target could be the area of a recent possible resistance around 138, and in the further future might be possible for the price to move all the way up to 140. Please remember this is a counter trend trade, so it is more risky, other things being equal, than trading with the trend. One of the main narratives driving the possible gains by the US dollar against the Canadian dollar is the apparent weakening, or at least lopsided growth, in the Canadian economy. We can see that business confidence as measured by IVPMI has declined for 2 consecutive months. It's also important to note that unemployment in Canada is relatively high and seems to be rising within the last few months. And that's contrasted with last week's strong NFP, considering the circumstances, showing that the labour market in the USA seems to be fairly active. There is also some evidence of increasing divergence between the Fed and the Bank of Canada in monetary policy. Now, the critical releases very likely to affect the idea in the next few days are the minutes from the FOMC, which is coming out on Wednesday night GMT, and most importantly, the Canadian job report, which is due on Friday. In summary, the idea for this week is a possible buy for the US dollar against the Canadian dollar with a target around 138. The primary narrative that might drive gains by the US dollar here is that Canada's economy seems to be weakening compared to the USA's, and there's some evidence of monetary policy divergence. And the critical releases this week are the FOMC's minutes and Friday's Canadian job report. Please remember this is just an idea for a trade, it's not a signal, it's not a guarantee of success. You always need to manage risk and do your own research.